Not everyone can be a champion, but if you train like one, and here you will see one. World boxing champion, former Thai boxing champion, Sot Chitalada from Thailand. A featherweight and a bantamweight champion. And you'll see here, again, training in a boxing right you've just seen previous. Sot Chitalada here, showing the use of boxing with excellent footwork, using the ring to maximize the arena, or the fight space, as we call the arena, the boxing ring. Utilize that. Also with him here we have Howard Brown, a world kickboxing champion. That's full contact kickboxing. They don't use low kicks or the knees or the elbows, but they use predominantly boxing with kicks above the waist. And Howard Brown from Birmingham, England, a great advocate for this sport. So 2 world champions together, a full contact karate kickboxing champion and a world Thai and Western boxing champion in the ring, going through the paces. This is called shadow boxing. Great way to improve your coordination skills, especially your balance, because there's no pad there to stop your bag, to stop you from actually falling over. Sometimes when you throw a punch, if you're not balanced, you can fall out of position, out of stance. So if you practice these type of movements, sometimes these are done in a mirror. And when you've got what's called mirror image, you can see yourself. You can use your own reflection as a target, trying to dodge your own punches, which will improve on your speed. Also mirrors the fact of whether you're dropping your guard or if your chin is too high. And you can see exactly where your hands are and your body posture, so your body's not too square onto your opponent. If you notice there, as these two perform, you can see especially there with how his body twists and turns sideways. He doesn't leave his body square onto your opponent, so you're facing flat forwards. Always one leg usually forward, left or right, as just previously mentioned. And by switching stance, this can confuse your opponent tremendously. That's why some of the best fighters in the world, if you remember Marvin Hagler, one of the best boxers in the world, world champion. Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hitman Hearns, and all these fighters, all champions, Roberto Duran, all did the switch stance. And I just mentioned before, Marvin Hagler, he was an absolute master at guard switching. Because most fighters will adopt a single stance, say left stance, so it's easier to see which side which punch is coming from. By switching stance like you're witnessing here with Sot, you'll find it much more difficult to deal with an opponent who switches from left to right, but you have to be good and you have to be competent. Because if one side is weak, your opponent will seize that and break you down. So this form of shadow boxing, performed in a ring, is an excellent way to build up stamina and technique. Never neglect shadow boxing in any of your disciplines. Full contact, kickboxing, Thai boxing, Muay Thai boxing, or even pure boxing. Now we're seeing some sparring techniques with Sot Chitalada in the blue headguard and blue gloves, and Howard Brown in the red headguard with the yellow gloves. And you'll see some of the things they've just been practicing without an opponent, an imaginary one. Now put together in free sparring. Sparring is a great way to build up your character, your stamina, honing your fighting skills if you ever actually take your art into the ring as a competitive modern day gladiatorial sport. Head guards obviously for safety to prevent cutting. Big gloves, as you can see there, more padding which will protect the knuckles and hands, and more importantly your opponent. Punches to the head and body. You'll find a lot of even Thai boxers will just practice just boxing just to improve their arm skills, as well as full out Muay Thai sparring. You can see a nice little turn there. We see where this fancy footwork comes in. And all the little turns and twists you saw Sot doing before, you'll see him put them into practice here now. And as you can see, much better within a partner or an opponent to practice these drills. But remember, Rome wasn't built in one day. Take each day and each training session as a new one, Build up your basics, as you saw in the previous part of the training on the focus mitt. We start with a jab cross, a hook or an uppercut to the head and body, remember. You've 2 arms, and you've got 3 basic punches, straights, hooks and uppercuts on both sides, and then you've got your combinations. See there, nice little turn from Sot with Howard. Howard, like I say, a very, very excellent full contact karate and kickboxing champion. And his hands have won in many fights. Just like Sot. Sot, obviously reigning from Thailand, who's come over here to Birmingham, England to perform this training session and seminar. Well, this man is probably only about 8 stone, but has got the power of a 10-stone fighter, if not more. Got awesome power, and that's what makes him and separates him from the normal and makes him a world champion. But remember, as I said, not everyone can become a champion. There's only so many champions, there's only so many weights, and there's a lot of people fighting, competing and training. So you can become a contender. It's better to be a contender in life than just be a non-starter or somebody who doesn't participate. So if you're watching this tape and you're inspired, go down to your local Thai boxing club, kickboxing, full contact boxing, which one interests you. They're all on this tape. And I'll give you some numbers later on you can ring at the end of this tape, and they'll put you in touch with people in your area or an association that will help you. And now we'll see why Sot isn't just a world boxing, that's professional boxing champion. Just watch him kick this bag. And you'll see why he's come from a Thai boxing background and very easily made the transition to professional boxing. It's usually a little bit hard the other way. You find some boxers go into Thai boxing and they struggle with the legs a lot because they've just only ever boxed and the stance is different. But obviously the hand skills will help them tremendously in Thai. And then the opposite. You can get a Thai boxer going into, or a kickboxer going into boxing. Obviously they've got to leave the legs firmly on terra firma. And now you're seeing here Sot using all the footwork and all the practice he uses in his boxing into Thai boxing practice, or Muay Thai. Muay Thai translates in English as Thai style boxing, and it's the ancient art, 3,000-year-old martial art used in warfare, where it will be used to protect land, territory and protection of the kingdom for the king and country. And they would fight to the death. In fact, many years ago in Thailand, some fights was made where they used to do the traditional form of fighting, where each fighter would wrap their hands in hemp or bandage, then put them into resin or glue and break glass into fragments and roll the hands in the fragments of glass and fight with punches, kicks, knees and elbows, even fighting onto the floor. There was no rings, there was no rules, there was no weight categories, there was no end of time or duration. These fights were very brutal, very dangerous, and somebody would end up with blood or they would have died. And these were called grudge matches, and they were for particular territory or for income, to support the families, or just of pride. Obviously these days, in fact it was in the 1930s.
With me is Sot Chitalada and his trainer Charlie Atkinson. Sot, Charlie, welcome to Birmingham. Charlie, Sot's between titles at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just between titles. We think it will just be temporary. We hope it will be temporary. On June the 3rd in Trang, southern Thailand, we hope to regain the title.
Right, he's fighting a Korean fighter.
Kim Young Kang.
Is that going to be a tough fight for Sot?
Yeah, it'll be tough, but he can do it.
When you plan to fight the Korean? Difficult training Sot to transfer from kickboxing, Thai boxing, over to the Western boxing.
It's not difficult because he's a lot of ability. If a guy's got natural ability, it's not difficult. He's just improved in leaps and bounds. He's got the balance and reflexes naturally. It wasn't too difficult.
Is the timing different though, for when you're punching and kicking to just punching?
Yeah, the timing is different, but of course the transition isn't done overnight. It was done over a period of about 3 years. At first he was very much a Thai boxer, but gradually he eased himself into the international training, you know, and of course once he got into the training system, was all go from there.
Gotcha. Now it's unusual for you as a Westerner to be accepted as a trainer in Thailand. I mean, was it hard for you to get accepted by the Thais over there?
Yeah, at the start I had to prove a lot of things. And, yeah, I made it very, very slow moving into Thailand, and they were watching me closely. And of course, the first year I wasn't so successful. Then, after about 18 months, things came together. And now they're like my brothers. I don't like my employers, you know. I like the Thai people. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, Sot has probably been your most successful protege. Are there any other up-and-coming young fighters from Thailand we're going to be seeing in the next few years?
they could be if they get the opportunity. He's the best boxer in Thailand.
Right.
He has been for a long time. But of course, they're all young boxers, and there are many of them. Many good boxers in Thailand, but they don't get the chance.
Right.
And you could see a lot of them, you know. I think slowly, certainly in Britain, they're starting to recognise the potential of Thai boxers.
Certainly.
Certainly the quality is there to see today.
Now, all of the great fighters have got certain ring trademarks, like the Ali shuffle, the rope-a-dope tactic. If someone's going to see a Sot Chitalada fight, what would they be looking for? What tactics particularly?
Smooth moving, lightning reflexes, accurate punching from both hands and all angles. He can do almost anything.
Right. And of course, when he's back against the ropes, his
Yeah, there are a lot of people, you know, in boxing, you've seen him fight, actually think pound for pound, he's a more complete fighter than Leonard.
really.
And that's a hell of a thing to say.
Yeah.
But I mean, he can do anything Leonard can do, he can do.
Now, Sot obviously trains very hard. I mean, he's kept up his Thai boxing as well as his Western boxing. What does he do when he's not in the ring, when he's not in the gym? What are his hobbies?
What does Sot like to do after boxing?
What do you like to do after boxing? Dancing?
He likes his friends. He likes to socialise. He doesn't drink.
Right.
But he likes to socialise now. I mean, go out a little bit. Not too much.
Yeah.
He's quiet. He stays home a lot. Likes to read. He goes to school. He's at university.
Okay, how much longer are you going to be in England?
Not long. I think we're going soon.
Too cold.
No, he's ready to go home. We came here for a purpose, and we've almost fulfilled that purpose.
Okay, well I wish you every success, Sot.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to seeing you again soon. Okay.
Nice to
Take
see you.
care.
Thanks.
Nice seeing you, John.
After an excellent interview there, obviously Sot with the language barrier, his trainer Charlie Atkinson was explaining about him. And now we come to part of the training tape where we go into the close combat. And this is known as clinch work. This is where the fighter will grab hold of the opponent around the back of the head or neck, and the opponent will practice, if you notice here, what is called the class as the clinch work, where one person will grab, the other person will come through in a snake-like movement to try and clinch, and then you'll press the opponent's head down, and that would be a knee strike, and the opponent there would probably be finished. That's why it's important to keep your head up. And in these type of movements here, having a bit of fun and games with Howard, is where the opponent grabs you and how to get out of a clinch by a takedown, pull down or a throw. And you notice there his chin is very strong, very high, and he just tips the opponent down. This basic throwing is allowed in Muay Thai, even though the actual wrestling side of it is all done stood up. So this is classed as Thai boxing clinch work. And you can imagine now there's a bit of a language barrier. Sot doesn't speak English, so they're having to work purely on and you can see there some excellent little, very clever, some people might call them sneaky moves, but the crowd there are enjoying this, and they're just working purely on clinch work. From clinch work you will then go to what's called low point kicking, which is moving away, close in, and this is where you actually break free from a clinch and finish off with a kick, or go in with a kick and go into the clinch. So any strike, you would then go into the clinch to show the three different ranges of Muay Thai. Three ranges are close, which is the elbows, the knees, short punches, clinch work and takedowns that you've just been seeing. Medium range was what you saw earlier on the Thai pads with the long knee and long range boxing. And then long range is what you've been seeing as well, which is the kicking techniques. And then back to the close as you've just seen now, which is the clinch work. And the takedown. So working from different ranges of boxing, knees and elbows, kicking, from kicking even into clinch. You can see there, excellent timing, very simple, as when your opponent tries to kick, using what you saw on the pads earlier on, which is the teep, the front kick or push kick or front stop kick. Now we'll see what we saw earlier on, some of the Thai roundhouse kicks using 2 Thai pads. And you'll see the power again that can be developed with these kicks. You can see why Sot was a Thai boxing champion, not just a boxing champion. You can see Howard's arms there, and he's giving away and pushing back, being forced back. You can see there, obviously, a lot of power. He's sensing that through the pads. So take a little breather. You can reflect and appreciate the power when you've got a world champion holding the pads and he feels the power of another world champion, and these 2 fighters are the same weight. In fact, Howard is actually just slightly lighter than his partner, but not much difference in size and stature. In fact, sorry, I've just been informed he's actually heavier. He's around 9 stone, whereas Sot's only about 8.5, which is incredible. You'd think it was the other way around, the way he was knocking him round that ring. And moving on to Howard Brown's brother, Edge Brown, who became a British champion, who's now moved to the United States. And a face that people might recognise there as well, Mr. Cash the Flash Gill. One of the tallest middleweight fighters this country's ever produced. I think he's around 6'4", 6'5", and used to fight between 70 and 74 kilograms, which is absolutely amazing for his height. Don't know how he made the weight. As you can see, his partner there, Edge Brown, who's the same weight, who fights around 74, 75 kilos. And look at the height difference. As these two practice some of the free sparring drills under the expert tuition and eyes of Mr. Sot Chitalada. And that's the most important thing with free sparring, is to enjoy yourself. Sometimes you'll get into some very intense workouts and there'll be some animosity, but the best thing to do is to get rid of the aggression, leave that for the ring, practice your techniques with your partners in a safe environment, and a great place is to practice in the ring. So you're in a smaller confined space than an open mat or open room. So just giving us some guiding tips there about actual timing, blocking and countering, which is very important to sparring and fighting, and being able to attack or counter-attack. You can see the size difference here. There's probably, there must be 20 kilos difference. And yet, the smaller man is pushing the bigger man round the ring. Which was what we was talking about before, about developing. Actual Muay Thai is based upon that you can defeat a bigger or heavier man. Obviously it has its limitations. And there's a saying goes that a good big one will always beat a good little one. And everybody's always... People have thrown around these sayings about a wrestler against a boxer and a boxer against a judo and a judo against a Thai boxer. These questions can never be answered because every person is different. You would never put Prince Nassim in with Mike Tyson, even though both of them are the best in the world. Different weights. You'd never put Neil Adams, a judo guy, in with maybe, say, a world Thai boxer champion, maybe against Samart Payakarun. These things never happen. I'm saying never. Stranger things have happened. It just shows you strength here. You've just seen what Sot can do. He's just been moving Edge around that ring as though he was only half his weight. A very focused young man. Very experienced as well. And again, some coaching tips. This is very important. As they're deflecting the kick and countering. Just giving Cash some more expert guidance. Blocking the front kick and countering with a left body kick. And then continuing with the use of the hands. One of the best fighters around are the ones who can actually coordinate between hands and feet, or elbows and knees, or hands and elbows, or elbows and punches. It's just a case of trying to get them together instead of working just one weapon at a time. If you only box, your partner will sense this, or feel this. If you only kick, again, your opponent can use this against you. But if you use hands and kicks simultaneously or together, it's very difficult to block. You imagine you've got a kick coming in towards your leg and a punch going into your face. Which one do you block first? Difficult question, difficult answer. But the only way you can do it and answer this one is to practice it yourself. Same thing could be said. You could be kicking to the head and punching to the body. You could be going to grab a knee and then throw a hook punch. All these things and all these 20 million permutations, as mentioned, can only be practiced in a good, safe environment with a fully qualified instructor or trainer. Check the credentials. Check out the pedigree. There's every club. There's plenty of reputable ones, and there's plenty of clubs that are probably not. It's very important when you go along to a club that this is a friendly environment with professional or semi-professional instructors who are on there to help and guide you and become a contender or a champion. As I mentioned before, men, women or children can partake in this sport of Muay Thai boxing. There are national headquarters based up around England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, all around the UK. I can give you one central number you can ring and they will put you in touch with all of these clubs. If you telephone 01204 395 807 and ask the UK MTA senior instructor, and he will put you on to a club in your area. That's 01204 395 807. Ask for Sandy Holt and he will help you and put you in touch with any club that's near to you and give you a telephone number and address, and hopefully you'll get on your way to learning some of these fantastic techniques that you've seen here today. The awesome power of the Thai fighter. Today's modern combat now seems to be the UFC, which is the ultimate fighting combat. As we've just been seeing there, what we've talked about before, you saw in slow motion the push kick, the roundhouse kick, the side kicks. Every weapon that you've seen being used, it's been showed you in full speed and slow-mo, so that you can study the form, watch the technique and practice it yourself on the bags and pads. Here's a simple, but yet can be hard, coordination test. He's making it look very easy, but then he's a world champion. Just try this. This is a little step-up routine. This can be done off a low boxing ring or off a stool, or in this case, a bench, which is perfect. This is step-ups and boxing at the same time. That produces coordination between your hands and legs, stamina. Now witnessing press-ups, one of the best, and I call this the king of all exercises. Works the upper body, the arms, the shoulders, the chest, the back, the legs, the stomach, just to name a few. It predominantly helps promote stronger punching power. Not just a conventional press-up, but you notice there he was doing it off an elevated position. Could be done off a chair, off a ring, boxing ring, or as you just saw, a bench. Now he's using a bar. Now you might think this is nothing, but that bar probably weighs about 25 pounds. When you start to work it with many repetitions, you only have to think, he only has to raise it 10 times and he's lifted 250 pounds. That's why we do a lot of press-ups, sit-ups, squats, stretching, skipping, to build up endurance for your sport or your art. Talking of sit-ups, here we see some crunch sit-ups. These are quite a hard one. There are probably 100 different variations of sit-ups. All of them are good for you. Some can be dangerous, so you watch out. You need to check that some certain types of sit-ups can damage your back. So if you've got any back or medical problems, make sure you consult a doctor before partaking in any physical sport, especially full contact training. Different types of sit-ups work different muscle groups. You can work the upper, the middle and the lower abdominals. Also the obliques, that's the side muscles that run down the side of your ribs to protect your ribs and your internal organs. And numbers is a good idea. How I train, and how people train, is just to count a certain set of numbers or to a certain time of a clock, like boxers train. Set a minute duration, 2 minutes or 3 minutes with stretches in between. Now you're seeing a sit-up here now with a stretch. Like I said, there are many different variations and the choice is yours. Pick up different tips from different people. But stretching also is a very important part as well, because once you've exercised muscles, they will cramp up, they will tighten up, they will crunch, as it enter the word crunch. Sit up. You need to stretch these muscles out so that you can build muscle up as well. Remember, make it specific. Sit-ups are done this way to build up the stomach muscles. Crunch sit-ups again here. These are the upper abdomen. These are good for in case you get caught or somebody hits you in the top part of your stomach where it meets your chest, which is otherwise known as the solar plexus. And you get hit there at the right spot, anyone will go down if it's not tensed. And even when it is tensed, it's very vulnerable. The only way you can do it is to protect this area by constant workouts, which is what you're seeing here now with Sot. Going on to a more advanced level of sit-up using a medicine ball. And you can see why people call it medicine, because it's definitely the cure to improve you and stop you from being hurt. But these are the advanced ones. These will also work your arms and your shoulders, your back, your hip flexors, and obviously and definitely the stomach region, which comes under a lot of pounding in a full contact fight. Again, working with a trainer is very important. Obviously the use and correctness of throwing the ball. Well, you can see here, Sot is not only using his arms, he's also sitting up and also using the stretch. He's stretching his hamstrings here whilst doing sit-ups. So it's a multi-purpose exercise. Teamwork, working with a partner. Obviously, if you haven't got a medicine ball, other implements of equipment can be used. One that I use and we use in our gym is using a kicking pad or a focus mitt for people who are not as fit. So a lighter object. And a heavier, like a medicine ball object, for the serious trainer, the contenders and the champions. Mention again about the stretching ability here, stretching his neck, his arms, his shoulders, his back. And it's a very, very advanced, and unless you've got strong knees, this one isn't recommended for beginners, or perhaps even intermediates. You've got to have very strong knee joints and ankles, and you've got to be very fit to do this. But it's a great stamina building exercise. Now there's some just loosening up of footwork. Get yourself prepared for shadowboxing or free sparring. You can notice here he's warming up his ankles, his toes, his feet, calf muscles, knees, thighs, hips, arms, shoulders, back, head, neck. Full body workout just by practicing ring craft or footwork. Footwork, remember, is a very, very integral part of any full contact sport, especially Muay Thai boxing. Starting first with the hands, and obviously as we've seen before, you can use elbows, knees, kicks, punches, everything goes. See they're changing left to right, backwards and forwards, full circle. The basics of Thai boxing or Muay Thai footwork is circle, left and right circling, forward and back, left and right, which is like the compass, north, south, east and west movements. Then you've obviously got varying angles of those movements. So if you draw a circle, point forward, back, left and right, so 4 points in the circle, and then you can make triangular movements and move anywhere around that circle. Shifting stance, changing direction, changing from left guard to right guard, making it very difficult for your opponent to suss your stance and suss where you're going to be at any given moment. You can see here, Sot, obviously, his Muay Thai background has made him and helped him become a world boxing champion as well. When you're in a ring, you can use the ring. Sometimes grabbing the rope, even though it is an illegal move to hold for more than a second or so, you can use it to stop yourself from falling over or falling out of the ring or being pushed or turned. So it's not totally illegal to use the ropes. It's only illegal when you come to actually grab them to use it to be defensive or offensive. In other words, grabbing hold of the rope and choking your partner or your opponent, or actually grabbing hold of the ring and then kicking off the ring or punching from the ring. And again, going on to the stretching side. This is very, very important. Stretch all your muscles. This type of stretching will help with your kicking abilities. This also for your kicks, your knees, your hip flexors, your back, your arms, your shoulders, your feet, your ankles. Again, some of these stretches might be too advanced for the beginner, but if you're an intermediate or senior, these stretches are ideal. Looking at the ankles, the hamstrings. And as you can imagine, he's been working out now for quite some time. And a towel there just to wipe off the excess sweat. It's a good idea to take in the gym. And remember, this is a safety feature too. Once you finish your workout at any gym, good idea is don't go home in the same training gear that you've trained in. Take a towel with you or some dry clothes if there is showering facilities, or just even a sink where you can wash yourself afterwards. Because remember, your pores are wide open after a workout. If you go out even in the warm air of summer, winter, whenever, your pores are open and you'll be susceptible to germs, to flu, to colds, because remember, you've used up all your energies, all your body minerals and vitamins in the workout. So just as a little footnote for you from me, look after yourself, because remember, working out takes a lot out of you. You need to replace your fluids, you need to replace your energy with food. So take along a spare top and a towel. You can see Sot here just doing like a warm down now. He's cooling off. There's no such thing actually. You don't cool down after a training session. You warm down. Your body will cool down.